All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking keys to success in presenting qualitative research, right? So we've got our data. Maybe we did interviews or focus groups, or we've got product complaints, or we've got product reviews, whatever it is, we've got it all. We went and analyzed that data. We did open coding. We looked for cause and effect relationships if they were there. We're ready to go. We're ready to go before the executive board, the people who paid us all this money, and we're ready to make that presentation. So what are the keys to success? My name is Dr. Michael Garver, Coach Garver, professor of marketing at the greatest university on the planet. Fire up, chips, let's do it. So what we're talking about now are keys to success, right? And you could probably, some of these, I've hinted about these things throughout other podcasts, but let's just bring it all together. What are the keys to success when presenting qualitative research? All right, it's a campfire story, so you definitely know that. Two of the things that we need to be careful of is in this campfire story, and a good campfire story is engaging. It's awesome. You're hanging on every word, right? It needs to be objective driven. So in the beginning of this process, we got clear-cut objectives from our client we're doing the research for. We got to make sure we meet those objectives, right? And so many times, it's been months since we talked to them about the objectives. We lose sight of that. Be objective driven. The second one there is data driven. And what this means is that this campfire, we're not making stuff up. We're not just coming up. That it's true to the data, true to the qualitative research, that we can go in the data and actually find these concepts and find these relationships. That's what data driven. So it needs to be objective driven. It needs to be data driven. All right. Now, we got to make it zen, man. You guys know that, right? Make it zen. You know that by now you know that presentation zen is just a much better way to present. It's more engaging, it's more fun, and it sure has a lot more impact, right? We're also going to make it stick. Yeah, put some Velcro on that message. Make it stick. Those are the two concepts when we talk about presenting that are just so near and dear to my heart. Make it stick, make it zen, and we're going to use lots of verbatim quotes. Oh, the power of verbatim quotes, right? There's something about when that message comes straight from the horse's mouth that it really gets their attention. And so when I present, I use verbatim quotes a lot. I'd rather have too many than too little, okay? Why? Well, one is it serves as evidence, right? So one of the things with qualitative is it's a little bit loosey-goosey for some people. Like quantitative people, there's very hard. Quantitative has this perception, at least, that it's a higher rigor. It's more scientific, if you will, right? So the quotes help us overcome that a bit, right? And you can see what the customers are saying. Here's the evidence for my claims, right? What I love about it, though, is in addition to the evidence, it hooks the audience. I have been presenting to executive boards, high-level executive boards, for 20 years. If there's one thing that I've learned from all of those presentations is that if you want everybody to come to the edge of their seat, if you want to see their jaws drop and hit the table, their eyes are wide open, give them lots of verbatim quotes. You can't imagine the emotional reaction that I have personally witnessed over that 20-year span by using quotes. I use them all the time because they hook the audience. Trust me, try them and see. So in the old days, we used just the written word, and it's still very common. Like when I use survey comments or product, like the written word, and I put it up on the screen, and it's not very zen-like because sometimes I put the actual quote up there, but it works. But you can also use audio, right? So if we have audio files, maybe you have video files, right? Audio or video files that we use a lot more today. So you're interviewing somebody on Skype and you've got a really good clip, bring in some video. I've seen this done extremely well. Now, I will give you a warning on this, right? I have seen people bring in audio and video, and if the audio or video is of low quality, or if the person doing the video is maybe not very articulate, you got to be careful because it can actually detract. So I remember a student project one time, and they had video of one of their interviewees, and it was just terrible. And it took forever, for the person to kind of say what they wanted to say. They weren't, and it just detracted. So all I'm saying, and then in another audio file, there was a buzzing sound, and all I'm saying on this is make sure that it adds to the presentation quality, not detracts, right? Because you can always use quotes, you can always use texts, and we can read a lot faster than we can, people can speak or watch them talk, okay? So anyhow, but that's an option too if you have good video. Here's the thing that we need to be careful of is it needs to be brief and deep understanding, right? So we can't go on and on forever. It needs to get to the point, but at the same token, deliver that deep understanding, which we know as D squared. Not an always easy thing to accomplish. That's why they make the big bucks doing this. All right, so what we've tried to, if there's one thing I'm going to leave you with, is that a good qualitative presentation, it's going to be objective driven. We meet the client's needs. It's going to be true to the data, and we're going to use lots and lots of customer quotes to be evidence and hook the audience and get them on the edge of their seat. All right, my friends, I'll see you in the next exciting episode of Marketing 450.